Let's show you how a student would find and access their portfolio. If a student has an account already, they will look up to the top of the right-hand screen and there's a yellow icon that they will click on. Once a teacher or counselor has an account, they can also have the icon on the top of their page. Some of the ways a student can sign up if they don't already have an account is to click on Start Here, add the information, or they can sign up through Google. We'll talk more about ways you can invite students to create an account in just a moment. For right now, we are going to show you an active account, and you will see a student lands on the Next Steps Idaho dashboard. At any time, users can navigate back and forth between their account and the Next Steps Idaho website by using the icon at the very, very top. On the mega menu, you will see the high school learning plans. These were developed and recommended by counselors from across the state. These activities can be used without a student account, and if needed, they can be saved using the prompts on the bottom right-hand side of the page. But I'm sure you'll see the value of a student's account simply by the ease of saving the results over time and from year to year. On the student dashboard on the right-hand side, we have pulled up the 8th grade high school learning plans. These activities can be done more than once, and they can be done out of sequence from one year to another. We recommend also inviting content area educators to make a plan for your whole school as which activities they too can share. By creating an account, they can see the same information that you can. On the mega menu, you will see self-assessments. The self-assessment results also show up on the student dashboard. The value of the assessment is doing them more than once. Students' results often change from year to year or even from the beginning of one semester to another. Students who are navigating the website and find pages of interest can also bookmark a page. Any of the bookmarked pages show up on their student dashboard. This icon is what they will click to save it to their student dashboard. One of the things I would like to emphasize once again is these results stay with the students and can travel with them from year to year through their entire high school career. Now Sarah is going to show you about interest tags and passwords.
So another part that the student gets, not only do they get to view and save things to a portfolio, is they have a user profile. Their user profile is set up during the account creation process. It shows them their name, their date of birth, the grade they're in, and here's where they can change the grade from year to year. We'll talk about in just a minute from the counselor side how those will automatically change from year to year. But they can also just know that if you have a student who might be co-enrolled, they could add a second school to their profile, and then both schools could view the information that a student has been saving to their portfolio. Also from their profile, they could change their password if they needed to. And from here, they can change and update their interest from year to year. So another part of the account creation is students will be asked to indicate 5 to 7 items of interest, and you'll be able to see those interest items when you view their portfolio.
So what we've been looking at is the student dashboard. This is everything your students will see when they create a student portfolio. But Sarah is going to log in to the Educator dashboard. And for many of you who have used CIS in the past, there was like a mechanical, really intentional flip that had to occur to show you what it looked like from a student's perspective. But in the Next Steps Idaho student portfolios and the Educator portfolios, you are always given like your own dashboard. And so you, even as an educator, still have that default student portfolio. So you could go in and play around and complete the same activities that you're assigning to your students, which is really convenient. So So this is, again, as an educator, how you'll access your quote student portfolio. So your student dashboard. This is exactly what your students see, and you have your own version of it. But moving down that leftmost navigation menu, if you go back to the roster, this is where you land when you log in. And it shows all of the students and educators that are part of your school or district based on your access level. And I want to most importantly point out that underneath, yep, right there, you have a view button, a pretty big view button next to every account owner's name. And this is what you will see when you are looking at your student's portfolio. So you'll see the same information. You have the user metrics, you have the high school learning plans, and this is great because when you click on them, you can kind of get a more detailed view of the progress through each activity. And then you could pull up the answers if you so chose. The bookmarks, again, as Sarah showed on the student dashboard, can be searched by scholarships or careers or resources, and they really facilitate those conversations that Byron is talking about, one-on-one discussions about what they want to do. And then again, with the assessments, you can pull up past versions that they've done. So if they took the same quiz as like a freshman, and then again, as a junior and a senior, you can kind of see the evolution of what they've been looking for and maybe some tendencies that have always kind of existed as far as their career exploration. But going back to that user roster page, I guess really importantly, before I get much further, is this horizontal scroll bar. Yep, thank you. There's a lot of information here, and Sarah's going to cover some of that in just a minute. But I just want to point out, usability wise, this is important not to forget, so you can just take full advantage of everything to offer. So we're going to talk about the 3 warm invite ways that you could add students to the Next Steps Idaho student user button. The first and simplest way, if you want to invite one person at a time, is to input their email. And then you could add an optional message if you so chose. But the most important part of this is to assign the district and the school. And you'll have more options. This is kind of a dummy account right here, but you will have all of the Idaho high schools in the state. And if for whatever reason you don't show up in those drop-down lists, just give us an email at info@nextsteps.idaho.gov. We'll work out those kinks and get you all set up. So you choose the school and the district, you get the email, and then you send that invite. And when that student receives it, they can set up their account. If you go to invite by link, it's a similar process. You choose the school and the district. You again assign the access level that you want these students to have. And then you create a link. And this is really handy because as you can see down below, it shows up and you can copy that and put it into a Google document, or you could send it out in an email. And then any student who sees that link can use that link to initiate the account creation process. And they will already be attached to your school, which is important. And Sarah will dig into that a little bit later as she talks about the cold invite. So the third way that we can invite students in a warm invite is this bulk invite. Again, you assign the school and the district, the access level, and then you come up with a reference code. And then if you scroll down, you'll kind of see, and we won't get into detail, but it explains how you can fill out an Excel sheet with all of the individual emails and the student information. And then using that reference code, you can upload that Excel file and the system will actually send out many emails at the same time. It's kind of an enhanced version of the invite by email link. And it allows you to send personalized invitations to your students' email addresses.
Great. So some of the things that you can do on the user roster is this would be where you could quickly go and view an individual student's portfolio and the activities like Joan mentioned. You also have the ability to filter. So right now, when you get logged in without tags associated at this point, you'll see everyone in your site. So if you scroll over to the right, you can see groups and tags. So to tag and create tags, you'll just click on this down button here, and you can see which tags at your school already exist. And then you can create your own tag for a new person. So you go into this plus button here, type in whatever name or title that you want to have that tag, hit enter. That's going to pop you back out and tell you the tag's been entered. You scroll back over, and now I've got my new tag. I just click on it and hit save. And now my student is tagged. I can come back over here and go down to actions and go to my groups or tags and then filter. And so now I'm only going to be seeing those students that I've tagged to my class. This is a sticky filter, so it will stay here until you're ready to make a change to that filter. So when you log back in the next time, your filter is already set for your students. Another item that is important to call out on the user roster is this status. So Joan showed you the 3 warm invites that would allow a student to create a portfolio at your school attached to the district. And if that happens, then they're automatically approved because you've invited them to join. But as we saw at the very beginning of the presentation, a general person or a student could come and find Next Steps Idaho, and they could either create their account by linking it through Google, or they could go through the process of creating their own account. And we call those cold invites because we don't really know if that student is really associated with your school. So when they go through the process and they say, yes, I'm part of Nampa School District and I am at Columbia High School, they would show up in here as pending, and you will need to come through and verify, and you can filter just based on pending. And if I had any pending accounts, I would be able to then go through and see, are those the students? Are they really a student at my school? And if they are, I can add them. And that allows me to then view their portfolio, and they are added to any of the reports that I'm going to show you here in just a moment. So those are kind of the different things that you can do on your roster. You can also set columns to filter by. So if there's information that you don't want to see in here, like I don't care when this account was created, and I know that everybody's at my school, I can set that, and now I've got my view just the way I want it. I can also export this so I can see who already has accounts, who's maybe missing an account. I can also just go ahead and from here in this user roster search. So those are all the different things that you can do from the user roster, but the main points that I want to focus on or highlight for you is the ability to create tags and then filter your roster so you're only viewing those students that you might be working with. Finally, this 4th piece down here is the reports. And so this gives you an overview, a summary of all the students at your school. And again, you can set those filters for just those students that you've tagged. And you can see their progress across all years around 100% completion of those learning plan activities. But you can also filter down. So if you're just working with 9th graders, and you want to see the 9th graders at your school and where they are at in terms of having assigned them a specific 9th grade learning plan activity, you could see that here. And then down here at the bottom, you can scroll over and say, hey, I know I assigned you this activity. And if you want to see the full title, you would pull the little icon there, High School to Life, or High School to Life. And you could say, hey, we told you to complete this and you didn't. So that's kind of the quick way to view. And then from here, you could also go right to that student's portfolio, come in here, and then view what they might have done for High School to Life, what their answers were. So that is the report. You have the summary and then each of the grade level reports.
We had a request on what if I'm a school administrator and I want to be able to see the accounts of the counselors or the teachers that are using this high school learning plans?
A great question. So when you are associated with a school or a district, you will be able to see all the different accounts that exist. So if you're a district level admin, you would email us and request an account, and we would get you set up to be over all of the schools that you oversee. And so you'd be able to see all the student portfolios as well as any educator or counselor portfolios that are created for your school. And the same thing if you're just over one school, you could ask for an account, and then you would be able to see all of the educator and counselor accounts as well as all of the student accounts.
So Sarah, how does someone get an account?
Yep, if you're a counselor or career advisor, or you're an administrator who is interested in having an account, you need to email us. And Joan, if you could put it in the chat, it's info@nextsteps.idaho.gov. Please give us your first and last name, your email for your school, and then we can send you an invite. And then you can go ahead and do an account creation just like a student would do. But when you get logged in, you'll have all of the information here as well. One area that we kind of just glossed over is this admin dashboard. As you start to get more users at your school, you'll be able to see a graph of the student sessions. You can change the filtering if you'd like. You'll be able to see active users, sessions by users, which grades are using it the most. You'll also be able to see the top activities, so those high school learning activities, what's happening at your school, and the top things that students at your site are bookmarking. So the top 10 bookmarks that are going on in your school. So again, as a teacher or counselor, you will have your own student level dashboard. So you always are able to see what students are seeing to help them troubleshoot. You'll get this admin dashboard with kind of user metrics. You'll have your user roster, which will be where you land when you log into the site. And then you also have access to the student learning plans, and from either the reports and or the user roster is where you'll go right into an individual student's portfolio.
We know that this is a valuable tool. We also know we went very quickly through the presentation just to give you the highlights.
And also, if you feel like you're ready to get going with this and using it with students, feel free to also email us at that info@nextstep.idaho.gov, and we can set up some more one-on-one trainings or with you or with more at your school to help you get your students onboarded into the Next Steps Idaho website.